but presumably they're following the process, right?
Right. Well, this gal was a former principal, so she really understands the concept of getting parents' permission before you do anything.
Yeah, yeah. So tonight, um I guess some of the, let's just talk through. Anybody else have any questions on the main stuff we've talked about? We're already an hour and a half, and I don't want to keep people if they're, but I do want to talk to Diane, Martha, Stephanie, and Kathy Ford. I am going to want to talk to, and Gail Johnson, if she wants to stay on, can stay on also, but I do want to talk to those of you. Yeah, Mary, you got
Valerie had a question about whether we could send, if you get gas cards and send Northern kids to Southern camp.
Oh,
Well, yeah, that was what I was thinking. Well, I know that from Long Beach, we had kids going to Santa Barbara, and through donations, we provided gas gift cards for them just because we all know what the prices of gas were last summer. But I'm thinking some of the Northern California areas that are more in the center, in the middle, maybe they might be able to come to some of the Southern California camps if there's room. But, after I made that comment, I thought really there wasn't a whole lot of room in the Southern California branches either. So that would only help a handful of students, but, it might open up a few more spots. Just a thought.
And really, I appreciate everybody's thoughts around this, because it really is going to take a village to try and keep everybody satisfied. And it's,
I just think it's going to be really difficult, but I just think you need to be as fair and equitable as you possibly can. That's all you can do.
Yeah. So, yeah, Mary.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk to Martha and Stephanie about my idea about having, group virtual.
Great idea.
Getting a place at the library or
I was talking
someplace.
to the La Mesa branch about it too, and saying, if they're like, well, if we got all these extra girls, if we get applications, this many applications from every school, we have to figure out how many we could send to virtual. And if we did, could we have set up a cohort here, and they could maybe work at one of the local churches? And I said, yeah, I'm open to trying to figure out how we can do something like that, and maybe come up with a model that enables people to still get some of the social connection, and at the same time, and let the girls develop a bond with each other. I don't know. I kind of like it. So I think La Mesa is going to definitely work on some kind of plan to do that. And we're going to try and work with one of the local schools.
I think that's
do it.
a good idea.
And work directly with the school, because then they'll be able to provide us equipment. Yay. It's like, okay, let's find a way to work that all out. So I think there's a lot of possibilities. This is a tough year. I can't say next year is going to be easier, because I don't have a crystal ball, and I certainly don't see, I don't see people clamoring out of the woodwork and saying, I want to be a camp director. I'm growing up and I want to be a camp director. So we may have to develop a better method of recruiting, or figure out, where we can go to find some people that are going to be willing to take it on, because it's a lot of work and all you can promise people is it's a lot of work, pretty much, because the pay is not why you would do it. That's for sure.
Another question.
Yeah.
Are you going to, is the board meeting approving the camp fees for?
No, that's going to be January. We're going to have to wait till January. We've already told the branches, basically, they ought to count on the prices going up. We told them that. And so we told them that when we asked them to put their branch requests in. We told them that you were asking, at this point, we were looking at $11.50. We put whatever numbers happen to be in the spreadsheet that I got or somebody sent to me, that's what we used. And so they've all been kind of got those numbers stuck in their head. And we also told them the state may want us to pick a number and everybody's going to do that number. I don't know. That's not where we're at, but until we get the budget pulled together so we can see where we actually are and how much we have to play with from a unrestricted assets standpoint in terms of making up losses, et cetera. Until we get to that point, which Kathy is furiously working on, probably even as we speak here, as she looks down at her pages there. I think that, that it's going to settle probably second weekend of January. We'll have to settle that. Yeah, Diane.
So if one was to try to get sponsorships from large corporations, how do they go about doing that? Do they have to go through a certain person? I mean, can you just go to a company and say, we're doing this, we have Tech Track, and give them the whole spiel and see if they'll
Sure.
donate? I mean, it's more involved than that.
I would say, yeah, it is a little bit more involved, but if they come back and they say, yeah, here's our website link, go on there and apply or something.
But you can just do that, right? There's no restrictions to being able to ask people for money.
No, I mean, well, what are they? Are they drug lords from Mexico or what?
Well, I'm
We're
asking
asking.
because Jessica, my new core director, she said she knows some people that she works with that would be, some companies that might be interested in supporting.
Yeah, no, and so Kathy and I were just talking about this last week about the fact that we are trying to get to the point where we can get a little bit more discreet about figuring out who our corporate donors are, because that's a real challenge today to try and ferret out. All right, how many corporate donors do we actually have across the state?
Right. Because I know Oakland reached out to Chevron and they got a bunch of money, but just for their branch,
Yeah. Yeah, you can reach out. You can ask for money at the state level. You can ask for money at the camp level. You can ask for money at the branch level, and they can put the money wherever they want. They could earmark money and tell you they just want to give you money to pay for equipment.
Okay, and that goes through Kathy, I guess, eventually.
Yeah, Kathy's going to end up seeing something comes back from SPF.
Ultimately, it gets into SPF. But I know there are branches like Torrance which rely heavily on corporate donations, and so.
Right. Yeah, because I told Jessica to get a hold of you, so if she needed.
Yeah, and that's fine. And they'll always need the designated donor form.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I gave her all the packet that we got last year as branch coordinators, I think.
Yeah, you know what the designation form is, and that is really critical, particularly when it's coming from, say, a corporation, to make sure they're identifying, is this a direct to camp donation?
Right.
Is it a branch donation that is going to go to a camp or what? Yeah.
Kay, you had a question.
Actually, Kathy asked the question for me. It was regarding the budget totals. And just a note to Kathy, I changed Whittier's budget today with the actual numbers from the contract. So.
Yeah, Mary advised she'd updated on the
I had gone through and done
too, yes.
Google Drive. I picked the number out of whatever the contract was that Jonay sent me, and I plugged that into the 23 for your hotel number, or not hotel, campus costs or whatever it was.
Well, actually what I did was I took the number of attendees and multiplied by the number that was in the contract. So if you change the number of attendees, it'll automatically change on the budget.
Yes. So what I did is I actually went up and I was looking, they had 134 and I was going to put that in there. And then I saw, oh, but they charge, instead of 529, they charge 535 for this number that go early. And I'm thinking, it's close enough. Whatever's in there right now, I think is going to be close enough, because
Sonoma's more than it says too, I think.
Yeah. Because I thought around this time you might be getting updated contract information finally.
Yeah.
So
soon.
we're trying to get that in as.
That's how I did San Diego's number, Kay. is I just did multiplied a number by another number and said, that's what I got, because that's all I got. I don't even have anything better than that yet.
It might be the same thing I had. I just put a formula in there though,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
And the other thing is, if all of a sudden your capacity has increased, your revenues go up, but you might need more volunteers, or, you know, where you're going to pay honorariums, I guess we're calling them now, but there will be some increases in other costs
yeah, yeah.
related to the space available.
You know, one of the things we're going to need to just be clear with people this year, and I think nobody in this crew that I know has had an issue with it. This is not employment. It's not a wage. It's not whatever we're doing. We're not paying people for a job. It's a volunteer role, and they've got tasks assigned to them, and that's what they're doing. So it's not a job, but so they may be changing the terms from stipend, because apparently they're getting a little bit more touchy about the term stipend as being associated more with something extra you get as part of your job.
Mhm.
So we'll have to see what they come back with. That'll come from SPF.
Mhm.
So, yes, Mary.
Yeah, Pat had a question about if you could revert the allocation spreadsheet back to where you started to show all the allocations by branch.
Sure. They're all, I didn't change the one on the website. So these are the ones that are, let's see. Oh, I didn't share either, did I? Let's pick the screen. Share. So this is everything. I haven't changed anything here yet.
I'm not seeing anything under the specific for camps, and I don't know how you filtered it for our camp.
Hang on. Let me just do all the select.
Oh,
first.
there you go.
So
Okay.
what I did is I selected Sonoma. I removed all the blanks for Sonoma. So I deselected. So for you, all you have to do is take the blanks out, and that'll show you all the camps that you've got that have currently said, this is what I want for these.
Request.
And I don't think what's going to happen is Morro Bay isn't going to even show up in it because they haven't picked anything. So they're one of the blanks that would be in there. And then if you want to,
Could you leave it the way where you started it?
yeah, there, just like that.
If we're not needed, the southern camps aren't needed, I'm gonna go ahead and leave.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's
that where we're at?
Thank you. I'll leave this here and you all can come in here and look at it or whatever. That's fine. So anybody, if you've got your questions answered, that's great. Like I said, if you want to take the transcript, you can go ahead and write, go up to the arrow up or arrow down, and then you can save, I think, view full transcript and then save. So you can say view full transcript, and at the very bottom of the view full transcript, it's going to say save transcript. And it should save it with everybody's name and time and all that stuff. When we said this is actually both a blessing and a curse. So your words can come back to bite you in the butt. And these should, I think they save them to a folder on your computer, a Zoom folder in your documents. You should get a Zoom folder by date where it saves it. Okay, so Diane and Martha and Stephanie, please stay on so we can, and Gail, if she's still there, I can't tell what I'm looking at on her wall. Is that a?
Martha, did you get the transcript thing? I didn't.
I didn't get it.
So at the
Okay.
bottom, there should be something that says hide captions. Bye, Valerie. See you later.
Show captions.
Yeah, show captions or hide captions. And
Oh,
there's
yeah.
an arrow right next to it. And if you go in and you say view full transcript. Yeah. And then once you view full transcript, then you say save transcript. So let me bring this
Got it.
back up here. I'm going to bring the other one up. So let's talk about this.
Can I
Yeah,
Can I
Mary.
say, okay. Thank you all.
Bye, Mary. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Mhm.
I think Joan has walked away. I'll put her in the waiting room so she doesn't start snoring. Is there any other way? I mean, the fact that the number 3 ends up really, other than the ones that you have in common, and you have 9 in common. You have 9 branches that you're sharing where they said either I want to go to you plus a couple others. So on your own, Davis has 33 branches. Then you have 9 that are common, and then Diane has a bunch of branches that are not the same as yours. So she's got another 32. But there's like 50, 58 or something, which is about half of our total branches.
Yeah.
Which is, so we understand that the cry will be very loud. We know that. I'm trying to come up with something that is, people aren't going to like it, but is it equitable? And do we need to tweak something? And then once we tweak it, that's when we, we're going to have to tell the state, people are not going to be happy. So you are going to be hearing a bunch of, but we've all agreed that this is what it's got to be until we know more about what's going on with Sonoma.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that it probably won't have to, we won't have to make that decision. I will probably be gone on vacation. How does that sound? But you would have
That's
to.
good. I think that you should go on vacation.
Yes.
Let's all go on vacation.
Yes.
But no, Mary, you definitely need to go on vacation.
But I'm thinking, so Sandy, it would have to go directly to Sandy. So because she's the one that's going to end up sending out the email that goes out to everybody that communicates what we decided. And so if we aren't able to decide before I leave on Saturday, then we're going to have to make some kind of call, because we're going to have to tell them what to do after they can do their MOU. And they're going to start working on their MOU probably this weekend, or, right after the email is sent out. You're going to have until, I think we told them the middle of February to get your MOU done, or the end of January. What did we say, Kathy? End of January? I don't remember.
Yeah, we were talking about
Let's
into February and then trying to move it forward a little.
No, we said the 20th of January.
Yeah, we moved it.
January. They have to have their MOUs done by the 20th of January. So part of that includes the branch president doing their thing and then sticking the allocation in the email to the branch coordinator and saying, here's what you've been allocated, 3 spots or 4 spots
Right.
in Davis. And if you originally asked for 8, and so you can either do 4 in virtual at some point in the future, or you can, flip a coin or do whatever and hope.
And when does that decision make? I mean, when do we have to make that decision? I mean, they're getting an MOU that says we've acknowledged that this is what you said you wanted, right?
Yeah. So we'll get the MOU from the branch president that says, we tell them, here's what you said you wanted.
Okay.
Branch president will say, I will agree that if I were to get all those, I'll pay for them.
Right. Okay.
And I'll follow the rules. That's
Okay.
what they're going to get. Then we have to marry that. They're going to tell us who the branch coordinator is we're going to give them a drop down. They'll pick it, whatever, however it works out. So then we'll send they'll tell us who that person is. They submit that. We marry that to the allocation. So the allocation comes from a spreadsheet similar to what we have listed here, that Sandy would then come back and pull that number, that information, and put it into what goes to the branch coordinator. And
Excuse me, go ahead. Sorry.
so she would get, for instance, that, let's pick Mid-Peninsula, just because I see they have two different, requests for two spots. So in their original request, they probably asked for, what was their name? The one we were just looking at?
I can't say it. Mid-Peninsula.
They were asking for 8. They were asking for 5 and 3. They were asking, but it's probably, is there a comment on the side there? No, they didn't put a comment. And then they're also saying they're going to do 8 virtual, right? So that's that they're going to try and cover those. Plus they're going to do virtual.
Well, I kind of feel like, I know our branch is probably asking more than what we
I know they
are
are.
expecting to really get.
Yeah, no,
Like
well,
12.
because
I'm
that's
sure
what,
they're
when
thinking
it
they're
came
not gonna
out,
get 12.
well, the request came out and it said, how many do you want? And
Right,
so
Right,
that's,
and
you
so
know,
I'm
oh,
sure
yeah,
everybody thinks
okay.
elevated, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
branches tend to gonna target high, even if they don't know
Exactly.
exactly what their fundraising will be.
Exactly.
Right,
They
yeah.
feel
Exactly, but-
comfortable that they can go to the max on what they want, they're gonna put it in.
Right, exactly. But, you know, I think Stephanie, your hand's up, sorry.
Oh, no, well, earlier Mary said that the MOU is going to go out in another week or two. It sounded like sometime before Christmas.
Yeah.
It's going to go out, but it sounds like Diane may hear before Christmas as well as to whether there's going to be a second week at Sonoma. So if she hears before this MOU goes out, then that throws this whole chart off because it will be extended because it will be a second week, right? So
Well,
then
it may be. And so one of the things that we said at that point in time, you know, we can always put a qualifier in when they do their MOU letter that says, if there is a second week, check this box if you would like to have spots in that second week. Here's your allocation, check this box. And if it becomes available, we'll take you into consideration, because some may not want to go to Sonoma. Some may be, you know, no, I only want to go to Davis, or I only want to do this, and I don't want to take advantage of Sonoma. So we kind of have to get our arms around that.
Right.
But I think that we had that conversation today with Sandy, and she said, I think we should just not count on Sonoma at this point in time, Sonoma 2, and just work that in January if we
I
have
don't agree with that.
an adjustment.
I don't either. I think you're asking for everybody to really be jumping back at you, and you'd soften the blow with saying, you know, we're working hard for a second week.
Well, I think we're
And-
still going to say that we're working hard
Yeah.
for a second week,
What-
but we don't have it.
Mary, what is the time between the initial MOU that goes to the president and then the second one that would go to the branch coordinator? I mean, can we have several weeks
Yeah, we don't
between
have
those
to-
two?
We could. We've been telling
know?
the branches we would let them know in December what the allocations were. But we
Yeah.
do have, there's nothing automatic about it. We could stop it once it comes in and decide, you know, this is how we're gonna plug it in. So we could do that.
Yeah, I think we at Northern need a few more weeks in between.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Get
I
our
mean,
ducks lined up.
I can tell Sandy that we want, I'm just, let me think it through here to make sure that doesn't screw something else up. So.
And as director, I keep in contact with my branch coordinators, except I don't know who the new people are. I don't know, you know,
Right. Well, and one of the things and so we talked about that today too, that this is, you know, especially the timeline, if she was talking about not talking about allocations until March 1st. And I'm like,
oh, no.
I think
Oh,
that's a
that's
little
not good.
late. I don't
Yeah.
think you can wait that long.
No,
So, and saying, and then you can let the camp directors get involved then. And I'm like, no, that's
No.
not gonna work too well. So,
No.
That
No.
the reality is that historically, it's been worked out between the camp directors. This happens to be too monumental a task to be worked out between.
Yeah, because we used to have branch coordinator meeting with our meeting with our branch
Yeah.
coordinators in January, just
Yeah.
at the beginning.
Yeah. that's true.
So,
Yeah.
you know, I think if we said, well, you know, as long as you can keep your branches, you know, kind of at arm's length and say, hey, we'll let you know by the end of December what the total plan is. But I think you may want to start socializing. If something doesn't happen, then this is kind of what everybody will get to play. How's that?
Yeah.
You
We
just-
are kind of trying to socialize right now, actually.
Everybody will get to
But okay, but that still doesn't give us much time. The end of December and you have to take out all the time that
Yeah, no,
that
January.
holidays and
yeah.
stuff. I would say into January, you know, that first week in January or something. I know you're saying January 20th for I don't know if that signed MOU, that's easy because you can send the things out to the branch presidents, because basically you're just saying this is what you're committed to, you know, and that's not a big deal. But to give us more time for the allocations for Northern California.
If you think you can hold them off on that, you know, and not have to make have to tell them, you know, yeah, it doesn't look too good, or, you know, even if you do get this extra camp, we're still going to have to make allocations. So
Yeah, I feel like Martha and I can communicate with our branch coordinators if we know who they are. you know?
Yeah, and especially if you give us the information, because I mean, we had our standard branch coordinators who we knew very, very well.
Right.
And then, you know, after last year, we both added some other ones, but got to know them.
Right.
You know,
and some are coming back and whatnot.
and yeah, exactly. And so that worked out well. And so that wasn't an issue.
When you talk about if I give you information like this information that tells you
No. Well, yeah, that would be handy too. I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because there are some new ones on the list that I did not communicate with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I
No,
mean,
you're recording still. Is that okay? I guess it doesn't matter.
it's all right by me.
Okay.
So, and Diane and I can coordinate. We might even send out a joint.
Yeah, I think we should, because we have shared.
I think
It's
that's a
to
great
those-
idea. I think that will be a great idea. I think if you don't give them any indication, I'm looking for my stop recording button here.
Oh,
I
gosh.
might say something.
What did I say? I know.
I know.
No, I guess I can't. You can't